The drama surrounding Gervonta Davis has once again ignited the boxing world, drawing fans, critics, promoters, and fighters into a storm of speculation about what comes next for one of the sport's most electrifying champions. Every time the conversation shifts back to Davis, it brings with it the same anticipation, the same frustration, and the same hunger to finally see him step into the ring again. After months of silence, confusion, conflicting headlines, and the lingering aftershocks of exhibition talk, the path forward suddenly looks more defined. And the reason for that clarity comes from a fighter many didn't expect to be in the conversation at all. Floyd Scoffield. The whispers began to spread across the lightweight landscape as reporters, insiders, and fans realized that Davis might not have the luxury of picking his next opponent. For once, the decision may not be in his hands. Floyd Scoffield, young, undefeated, and unpredictable, stepped forward, claiming that he is next in line, not because of drama, not because of hype, but because of paperwork. The mandatory position. The words hit the boxing world like a lightning bolt because they signaled something different from fantasy matchmaking. This was reality. This was the kind of fight that doesn't rely on negotiations, call-outs, or superstar agreements. This was a fight ordered by boxing law. Schofield's status as a top-ranked contender in the WBA suddenly made everything feel more real. He was now in a position to be selected as the mandatory challenger for Gervonta Davis. But mandatory status in boxing is rarely as simple as being ranked number one. It involves politics, timing, availability, and the sanctioning body's own priorities. Even then, Schofield found himself perched in the most advantageous spot he had ever held. Whether he truly wanted the fight or simply wanted the attention, his name was now tied to tanks, and the pressure was rising on both sides. Yet the moment Schofield stepped into that spotlight, old concerns resurfaced. His history of unpredictable behavior, last-minute cancellations, and bizarre incidents started being dissected all over again. Fans remembered the aborted Stevenson fight where Schofield was suddenly hospitalized overseas. They remembered the fight canceled because of mysterious marks on his wrist that sparked memes, rumors, and accusations. For a fighter looking to challenge the most dangerous man in the lightweight division, his track record raised legitimate questions. Was he ready? Was he serious? Or was he positioning himself for an opportunity he wasn't sure he could handle? At the same time, attention shifted and landed squarely on Davis. Fans had grown restless watching him sit on the sidelines, while others fought regularly. The lightweight division felt like it was moving forward without him. Champions overseas were appearing month after month. Veterans and rising stars alike were booking fights every 8 weeks. Meanwhile, the big names under the PBC banner fought rarely, leaving supporters frustrated and desperate for matchups that never seemed to materialize. Davis once fought 3 times in a single year. Now the hope was simply that he would show up once. This is where Schofield's claim mattered. It didn't rely on popularity or star power. It didn't require Davis to chase belts or opponents in higher weight classes. It brought the conversation back to reality. Mandatory challengers can't be ignored forever. If Gervonta Davis was going to step back into the ring soon, Schofield was one of the few men who could legally force him to do it. Then the promoter politics entered the story. Oscar De La Hoya, representing Schofield under the Golden Boy banner, suddenly shifted his tone on Davis. Gone were the jabs and criticisms he once directed at Tank. Instead, he spoke warmly about Davis' talent, expressed sympathy for his legal struggles, and praised his dedication to legacy. The sudden positivity felt strategic, as if Golden Boy sensed an opportunity and wanted to ensure nothing jeopardized the possibility of a fight. Every compliment sounded like a carefully placed bridge, strengthening the chance that Davis might meet one of their fighters in the ring. But the question remained, was Schofield truly the man? Or would the WBA choose someone else like Andy Cruz, another rising fighter positioned just behind Schofield in the rankings? With sanctioning bodies, nothing is guaranteed. Rankings shift. Negotiations change. Sometimes number 2 gets the call instead of number 1. Sometimes politics outweigh logic. But Schofield's camp continued to push the narrative forward, insisting that he should be next, that he was the rightful challenger, and that Davis had to meet him. All the while, fans debated the legitimacy of the matchup. Some believed Davis deserved criticism for facing a lesser-known opponent instead of one of the division's biggest names. Others recognized that mandatory fights are unavoidable and that Tank had already been inactive far too long. What mattered now was that he returned, regardless of who stood in the opposite corner. Even the fighters themselves weighed in. Former champions and analysts admitted that mandatory challengers are part of boxing structure, not a sign of avoidance. Davis faced Rolando Romero because he was ordered to, and the same principle applied now. If Schofield was selected as the next challenger, then Davis had every right to take that fight, without facing the constant accusation that he was avoiding the elite. But beneath all the noise, all the opinions, and all the politics, the story at its core was simple. The lightweight division needed movement. It needed clarity. It needed Gervonta Davis back in the ring, showing the world why he is one of the most destructive punchers of his generation. Whether the opponent was a veteran, a superstar, or a young, hungry contender like Schofield didn't change that necessity. The sport thrives on action, not speculation. And Davis, a fighter built for the spotlight, needed to step into it once again. As fans looked ahead, the possibility of Davis fighting Schofield brought a mix of intrigue and skepticism. Schofield's biggest payday would undeniably come from facing Tank. For Davis, the fight would be another chance to remind the world that inactivity doesn't dull power, and that legacy is carved by showing up, not by staying silent. If the mandatory is ordered, the stage will be set for a matchup that blends unpredictability, pressure, and the potential for chaos. Whether it happens next month or later in the year, one thing is clear: the countdown to Gervonta Davis' return has begun. And if Floyd Scoffield is the name chosen to stand in front of him, then the lightweight division is about to witness a collision shaped not by hype, but by obligation, opportunity, and the hunger to reclaim momentum. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want to stay ahead of every twist in the lightweight division, let me know what fight you think Gervonta Davis should take next. Do you believe Floyd Scoffield deserves the mandatory shot, or should the WBA choose someone else? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button, and subscribe to the channel so you never miss another dramatic boxing update. Your support keeps these stories alive, and there is plenty more on the way.